We're first going to play for you the clip, okay? By now you've seen it, I'm sure, and if you haven't seen it, you've heard about it. But at the G20, Xi Jinping and Justin Trudeau had a bit of a confrontation, okay? And the background behind this is that Xi Jinping and, Justin Trudeau were discussing things, and then those things were discussed in the Canadian press. Mm-hmm. And Xi Jinping was like...
As is
it's normal. Xi Jinping is like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
So let's see what happened. Let's take a look.
Everything we discuss is then leaked to the paper. That's not appropriate.
而且我们也不是那样进行的，没有。
And that's not how the way the conversation was
如果
conducted.
有诚心，咱们就用互相尊重的态度来进行很好的沟通。
If there is
否则这个结果就不好说了。
if
In
there is
Canada, we
sincerity
believe
on
in
your part,
free and open and frank dialogue, and that is what we will continue to have. We will continue to look to work constructively together, but there will be things we will disagree on, and we will have
有
to
些可以
continue.
建设性，但是
创造条件，创造条件。
Let's create the conditions first.
好，好。你这个
Okay, so, well, before we get into the comments...
Yeah, just go back for a second. I just want to say, so basically you explained everything.
Yeah.
This is like an exchanging of words. But what happened was, you can see Trudeau perhaps caught a little off guard, but it responds with the idea that, hey, like, we're not always going to agree on everything, right?
Sure.
And Xi Jinping talks at him.
Yeah.
He's confronting him and talking at him. It's not if you understand Chinese, this didn't come off as a powerful or confident move. It came off as a move of displeasure.
Yeah. By the way, I'm pretty sure the subtitles didn't show when he walked off. He said naive.
I know. I was going to add that. That's why I said we're going to add stuff.
Oh, okay. All right.
But anyway, when Xi Jinping said 佛子这个结果就不好说了, that's kind of really like a strong phrase that you would use in Chinese, but the way he says it and like the body language involved, it's almost like he's got to say it and he wants to put it out there, but he's not open for dialogue here, right? And this is a fundamental difference between a Western democracy and like an authoritarian country. Things are going to be reported in the press. And in China, nothing is reported in the press unless it's okayed from the top.
Yeah.
Right? It's very simple. This is how it works.
Sure.
And Xi Jinping doesn't understand the most fundamental basis of that.
Sure.
Right? And this is actually differs a lot from the diplomacy from previous Chinese leaders. But before we get into all of that, something that wasn't reported here in this what's it called? This interaction is a subtitle that says 很天真, which means 很天真 means like so naive, right?
Yeah.
And he kind of utters this in a snide way as he walks away.
Yeah.
Right. And it was insane to me to see how this actually played out because we got caught up in the middle of a Chinese influence campaign surrounding this clip.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of you may have gotten caught up in a Chinese influence campaign surrounding this clip, and we'll show you how this actually happened.
Yeah, we will. Definitely.
This is why you guys come here to the show.
Now, before we move on to that, I want everybody to just quickly pay attention to Xi Jinping's face.
Yeah.
Okay? He is a person who talks at people. He does not talk to people. He doesn't have anyone reply to him.
Yes.
So when Justin Trudeau started responding to him, first of all, he didn't even wait for his translator to translate anything.
Nope.
He doesn't know what Justin Trudeau is saying.
Yes.
Okay? But he's also not used to anyone speaking back. So look at how uncomfortable he is. I want you to watch his face
Free
now.
and open and frank dialogue, and that is
He's like, what am I going to do here? What's happening? Why is he even talking to me? I don't understand. You know, so, yeah, you can't look at him in the face. He's like, this is awkward. He's like, shut up, man. Just listen to what I have to say.
let's create the
Get out of here.
conditions first.
好，
It's very...
And the dismissive how.
It's like, how?
It's like, what
whatever.
you say to a friend, not even a friend.
No, it's not even. It's like
dismissive,
whatever.
Like
It means like whatever.
But not in a. I think people are just reading this so wrong. We'll get into why. But it's not a power play. It's kind of
This
like
has been a very fascinating thing
Yeah.
because this interaction, on all sides of the spectrum, people have seen it as a win. So people that are very pro-China have said, like, look, Xi Jinping's completely owned Justin Trudeau. People that are very like pro-Canada or pro-West, they look, Justin Trudeau really showed Xi Jinping, really stood up to him. Both sides are trying to say the same thing.
Right.
but obviously it isn't like that. Okay, there is one side to all of this.
Right.
And before we even get into this, I want to lay my bias down on everyone here. I'm going to bring my bias. I'm going to lay it down on you. But when someone confronts you and says, "Hey, you told people what we spoke about? That's not how it works. Hey, let's set some conditions first. That was the wrong thing to do." That to me shouts mafia tactics.
Yes, absolutely.
That's like, what the hell? You don't go to somebody and like scold them on just talking the truth. There is no rule that says that he can't talk about
That's not how it works.
But the Chinese government wants it like that because they don't want anything to be said without their explicit permission.
He can't, Xi Jinping here can't even stand his ground and have a conversation, as was said here by the Uyghur Django. You can't even have a conversation about that. He has to just say, you need to play by my rules.
Yes.
And that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Right?
I like how he says, let's create the conditions first.
Yeah.
You know, in other words, I'm not going to talk to you again until we've got some conditions down, is his response, his only response. He didn't even listen to what Justin Trudeau had to say. No. Okay, now guys, we understand that there's a lot of hate towards Justin Trudeau, and not being Canadian myself, I have no idea anything about Justin Trudeau other than the like fantastically ridiculous things that I see clips of him saying, like she session and she covery and it being in blackface or whatever. That's what I know about Justin Trudeau.
The she session and turn it into a she covery.
Okay,
But
so
no,
all of that aside, we have to put everything aside here. Anything, you can hate the guy as much as you want, but this is a demonstration of China's mafia tactics.
Yes.
Okay, so whether it's someone you love or someone you hate, the same tactics are being put on display here.
Yes.
Anyway, let's get into this, how it all evolved.
Yes.
So maybe you can give us an idea of what we're going to look at next.
So what you're about to see is a Chinese influence campaign that was targeting you as an English speaker.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to do is highlight a random comment I took off of here that isn't part of that campaign. This would be from a comment probably from someone that didn't see the Chinese influence campaign.
Yeah.
It says, "Xi's blatant bullying doesn't work abroad for once," right? He can't control the dialogue and it drives him mad. The idea that a president might share information about a meeting with another world leader with his people is unimaginable to Xi. Thus, if you want to converse with China, you must do it under the Chinese restrictive and abusive conditions. The relationship is that of subjugation and submission. Now that makes perfect sense to me. That's how I walked away from it.
I agree with that. That's my viewpoint. But let's be honest, that's not everyone's viewpoint.
Sure.
Okay? That's the way I see it. Other people might see it differently to us.
Sure.
Okay? But what happens next? This is where things start to change a little bit.
Well, so I wanted to show an unbiased version of a headline surrounding this. First one is BBC, G20. Xi Jinping criticizes Justin Trudeau in awkward exchange. I think that encapsulates that perfectly.
Yes.
It's awkward and it's critical.
That is a correct headline.
Exactly what happened, right?
Yeah.
Another one is Japan Times. Says, "Xi spat with Trudeau, lays bare China's frayed ties with Canada." Also agree with that.
And yes, they've got
That's
frayed
accurate.
ties.
Very accurate, right? Now, where this gets weird is that I like to show that comment and then these headlines is before this all blew up into this weird Chinese influence campaign.
Yeah, okay.
Before it got tainted.
Yeah.
So what I noticed was that when I went on the Chinese internet, there was zero coverage of this event.
They're not allowed to show it.
They're not allowed to show it. This spats, or whatever you want to say, was not covered in Chinese media, but it was talked about amongst Chinese diaspora and Chinese speakers, right? Now, there was this forum that came up. It says Six Park, where this was covered heavily, okay? And this was in its infancy. This is right in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's a Six Park is a Chinese government-sponsored internet forum specializing in community-written news, launched in 2003. Okay, now this is really interesting.
Why does it say Google Arts and Culture?
I don't know.
Stop! They're always hiding their political bullshit under the culture label.
Yes. So
is it an art?
I don't know.
Propaganda, the art of propaganda.
So imagine Six Park as some sort of Chinese version of 4chan, but it's allowed by the government. So it's almost like an incubation test bed for topics to make sure that Chinese speakers abroad that are going to see the news, make sure they have the correct opinion.
Right.
So when you go on here.
So these are screenshots from the Six Park.
Yes. It says Xi Jinping and Trudeau, Fucked,
Yeah.
dissatisfied with the exposure of the two private conversations. So what they did,
So the Trudeau's effed.
so
basically.
they took the Voice of America article about this interaction, and then they broke it down with personal bias, right?
Okay.
And the comments that surrounded it were hilarious. If we go to the next slide.
Okay.
If you look at these comments, this was kind of in its infancy, like I said, right?
Hmm.
And they go on to say, like, Xi Jinping schooled little Trudeau.
Yeah, like your son.
Yeah,
you know?
like a little baby, you know, like all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Trudeau just got effed, like
Yeah.
humiliated. You start seeing this loaded language.
Sure.
And it's crazy because it makes you go back and be like, did I watch that clip wrong or
Sure,
something?
sure.
Right? And you start to realize something. Wait a minute. Maybe there's something weird going on here. So, to prove that point,
Yeah.
we found this influence campaign. And I want to set this up. If you watch that clip and you've already seen something that has pushed you in the direction to say, oh, Trudeau just got his ass handed to him. What just happened was your preconceived bias for thinking Trudeau is bad, which a huge amount of people do,
Yeah.
was preyed upon by the Chinese government.
Yeah.
And this is someone that doesn't support Trudeau. I have no idea about his policies, right? But
I'm
what
not
happened
interested in
was,
those she session or
Sure.
whatever. What even is a
I don't
she
know.
covery?
It's gaslighting. I don't even know what that is.
No, but I want to know. I want to know.
Anyway, what it did was this Chinese influence campaign. It preyed upon people to look at this and
Dude,
say, what?
maybe he meant she as in Xi Jinping, not she
there you
as
go.
in her.
You're going to actually confuse people.
Okay,
now.
sorry,
They're
yeah.
actually going to be like, yeah, that's what he meant. Anyway, what this was meant to do was prey on people that have ill opinions of Justin Trudeau already.
Yeah.
And what you do when you come out of this campaign is to watch that interaction and say, Xi Jinping just effed up Justin Trudeau,
Sure.
schooled him. Maybe I don't like the Chinese government, but I like them a little more now.
Yeah, because like I don't like Justin
Because
Trudeau.
I don't like Justin Trudeau. Or, at the very least, you equivalate both of them. Oh, Justin Trudeau's a dictator and he's undemocratic. I hate him. And look, a strongman, Xi Jinping, just schooled him. See, it shows you how weak our country is or weak our leadership is.
So
right?
we went to where did you get these comments from? Which video was it from?
It was the first one that was released. So the first clip that went out on YouTube
Yes.
about
This
Trudeau
interaction.
Xi Jinping interaction was only full of upvoted to the sky comments mirroring that exact post we just showed you
Yeah.
from that 6chan or whatever.
Yeah,
thing it
exactly.
was.
So take a look at this, for instance. GB made a comment. Looked like a boss and a subordinate. Trudeau looked scared and weak as he ran out the back. And then if you go to look at this GB account, you're like, who could this GB guy be? You'll notice that, of course, it's simply just a bullshit account. It's a Wumao account. This is what they do. There's no content on there. It joined a month ago. It's part of these bot farms, part of these Wumao influence operations. They create these fake, stupid users. They abuse the system to go and put stuff out there. If you go and look at all of the commenters, every single one is the same. So look, like Brian Liu said,
With 2,000 upvotes, by the way.
and 227 replies. From the look of President Xi, he was extremely disappointed with Trudeau and wouldn't want to be there a second more.
Number 2,
Mm-hmm.
Wana Song. Lol. I assume the whole world knew that Trudeau is incapable of being honorable and trustworthy. 1.8k upvotes. This is the first clip that was
Would you
released about this.
Would you upvote that comment? I mean,
No.
even if you agreed with it, that's not really a worthy comment to be like, oh, I like it so much.
But do you see this, guys?
Hmm.
We'll read a couple more of these. Hold on. Mr. Billy says, it's so sad and embarrassing for Canadians that Trudeau represents Canada as a world leader. So remember, the unbiased headline started, the unbiased comments you saw, then this clip drops, right?
Is Trudeau representing Canada as a world leader?
I don't know.
A world leader?
Maybe a Canadian leader.
Yeah, not a world. Is Canada going to take over the world? What's going on?
I didn't know their ambitions were so nefarious. Sam says, she must be thinking, can't believe the kind of idiots I have to deal with in my job. Do you see this made up shit?
Yeah.
This is a totally made up opinion about this clip.
Yeah, and it's all being like jumped.
It was hijacked.
Yeah.
All
and
of these
upvoted.
comments got upvoted unnaturally on this clip,
Yeah.
and they were the only opinion out there on
Yeah.
the clip,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So you have what? What's next?
Don't forget that this was Trudeau who led to Meng Wanzhou's illegal arrest in Vancouver. He lied when he said there was nothing he could do for the released. His justice minister only had a paper to sign. The people are the people, and the government. I am of the people. I love China, and I am not afraid of getting into trouble when I go back. But Trudeau is not of the people. He has acted very, very badly. If he thinks of rectifying the situation, he dreams.
You see how this works?
What does that even mean?
Do you
It's so
see how
bad,
this
yeah.
works? You hijack the narrative because anybody that has a preconceived idea that, oh, I hate Trudeau, now becomes more aligned with China in this scenario,
Yes.
which is dangerous path, right? You have the Canadian PM is shameless. This was awesome. Trudeau got the disappointed father talk. Then Trudeau went straight to his room. To get schooled on such diplomatic
yeah.
protocol is most unusual and shameful. Trudeau is proving to be an insincere and untrustworthy individual, an utter embarrassment for the nation of Canada and its people. Sad. These fake accounts.
And they're being upvoted so much.
It's gaslighting in its
Yes.
truest form.
Yes.
None of this happened.
No.
In the clip, nobody, I mean, there's no scenario here where Trudeau is looking him in the eyes, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't
Xi
know
Jin-
anything about the guy, but he was looking him in the eyes as he was defending himself.
and he responded
saying,
he responded
with
correctly.
confidence.
Yeah.
And saying this is not how it works.
Yeah.
Xi Jinping couldn't look him in the eye, says some bullshit, really, honestly, like wuss bag shit.
Yeah.
And then walks away, completely like.
They focus on Justin Trudeau walking
yeah.
away. Xi Jinping
He
walked
walks
away too.
But you see
What
this
the hell?
gaslighting thing. It's
Why not follow Xi
completely made up.
Jinping walking around the corner?
Yes. So you see what happens is when the first clip comes out and you hijack the comment section with thousands of upvotes.
And look at the upvotes. That's the thing. Like that
Yeah.
second upvote, the Canadian PM is shameless. Got 2.3k upvotes.
Yes.
Look, it's not a great comment.
Right.
It's not worthy
No.
of that many upvotes. But this is how the Chinese bot army, Wumao army work.
Every single one of these.
And by the way, you notice this with crypto scammers too.
Yes.
I get crypto scammers posting on my videos all the time. So what'll happen is they'll post like, oh, this guy's great for getting your crypto money back.
Yes.
And then it'll have immediately like 8 replies of different people. Yes, I also use that service. It's really good.
Yes.
You see, the bot farms work that way. They work
do.
in tandem. They're like, okay, we want this message to look
Right.
like genuine and legitimate.
Yes.
So we post, we upvote, and we reply to it.
And it works. This is the crazy thing is you
Why
might
does it
think-
have 111 replies to someone
Right.
who said the Canadian PM is shameless?
Because it's bot farms. These
Yeah.
bot farms go out there and hijack the narrative because what will happen is if you go on there and say, oh, this is super awkward.
Yeah.
Like Xi Jinping looked like he didn't want to have this conversation and Trudeau looked uncomfortable or something. Just a normal comment.
It'll get downvoted.
It'll get downvoted or it won't even get propelled.
Yeah.
These top voted comments, I'm not joking. Every one of these is a bot account.
Yes, we went to go look at every single one of these accounts, and they're all the same as that first one we showed you, where it's got 0 followers, 0 subscribers, 0 content. It's
Yep.
just made like within the last week or month, and it's just there to do this bullshit, this
Or it's
psyop
very
stuff.
very clear Wuma accounts.
Yeah.
But yeah, psyops. This is so clear, like a boss giving his subordinate a lesson in a firm but nice way. This is what happens in a nation without an independent foreign policy. Canada's biggest embarrassment. If you keep going through these,
Yeah.
like it's relentless, and it's. Imagine this. Imagine if it was just like a balance. It's not.
Yeah.
It's only these comments.
Yes.
On the first video about the topic.
Yeah, there's nothing here about like, oh, that was different or
Right.
awkward. It's all like insulting and attacking Trudeau and being upvoted, you know?
Trudeau immediately seeks a safe place. His
Yeah.
news picture is too rare. This comment here is directly translated from Chinese, by
Yes,
the way.
yes.
So you have one of these. What to respect when you, as the president of Canada, take orders from the president of the USA. See, it's doing this whole narrative, and it's part of the Meng Wanzhou Huawei
They've
thing.
thrown that in there.
It's all of the elements of propaganda in
Yeah,
these bot
yeah.
accounts. Look at these.
Yeah, Canadians must be disappointed of Trudeau's behavior. It is really let down to Canada. Come on, grow up, Mr. Trudeau.
You know what happened here?
Yeah.
Guys, is that when the Chinese government knew that this
We didn't
clip
cherry
was going
pick this.
to
These
air-
were the top
oh, this
comments.
is just top comments.
These were the top comments on that video.
When they knew this was going to happen,
Yeah.
they had a panel sit down in China and say, how can we manipulate the narrative?
Oh, you're going to
around
see
this
more
clip?
about that soon. We
Yes.
got a great. This is a good episode for that. You're going to find out.
As a Chinese, I can confirm this is how we lecture kids. Trudeau definitely can work as a BBC TV interviewer. They hate the BBC
Yeah,
in
they
China.
do. Yeah.
Because their top skill to interrupt during other people's talking rather than a PM. However, she didn't give a damn on this. He gave a
dame.
big reverse slap in the face. 3 years of this pure 3 years old Canadian guy. See this garbage
Yeah.
bot comment.
Yeah, it is.
Once again, it's an embarrassment for Justin Trudeau, for Canada. You watch this clip without any of this context. It makes no sense.
I personally, seriously, strip away all this bullshit and all the bias. Strip away my bias as well that I talked about. If you looked at that, would you walk away thinking that this was a massive embarrassment for Canada?
Not at all.
No.
Even if you're totally impartial and you're like, wow, that was awkward.
I'd say it was an awkward exchange between, two countries' leaders.
Yeah, that's it, right? I personally can look at that as a Chinese speaker and say, that was really kind of like more embarrassing and juvenile of China.
Yeah.
In non-diplomatic.
Like, why would you do that in public?
Yeah, for sure.
You don't call people out in public if you've got an issue with someone.
No, it's a little bitch move.
It is a little bitch move, but the fact that Justin Trudeau stood his ground and replied to it, is a good thing.
Yes.
Absolutely. If he had been like, "Yes, sir, I'm so sorry," and ran off,
next time
then I would agree with these comments.
for sure.
But he didn't do that, so that's why these comments are invalid to me.
These are Wu Mao comments masquerading as Canadians.
As a Canadian YouTuber in China and went to the same university as Trudeau, McGill, I'm disappointed. He does things for the sake of appearances instead of what's right. I hope he learns from this mistake.
And this guy did have
gain
videos
his
on his
respect
account.
back.
But honestly, no offense, Mr. P, you come off as a Wu Mao.
Yeah.
Norman says, I love the end when Justin runs off to the little girl's room to not cry in public. Justin Trudeau, a day without embarrassment is a day wasted. You see this gaslighting? It's just made up shit.
Yeah.
It's made to make you feel like, what did I miss here?
Yeah.
A lot of people, very impressionable people, and this doesn't make you dumb if you fall for this, but it's the kind of people that need that's why comment section exists, right? You want to go and be like, how should I feel about this? I don't really understand this awkward conversation. How should I feel about it?
Yeah.
You go to the comment section and you see 1,000 comments with thousands of upvotes that tell you exactly how to feel, and then what's self-realizing is that all of those comments agree with each other.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you feel like an absolute idiot if you came out of that without that opinion.
This is exactly what a psychological operation, a psyop looks like, okay?
It's a real psyop.
This is where you as a casual observer get basically bombarded and forced into having an opinion.
Yes.
Because everyone is saying the same thing and they are going in there and replying and boosting this stuff. You know what I mean?
What's hilarious?
What?
From Vossler Guardia, thank you for pointing this out. He said, he's talking about me, is Lauai reading the comments from the video or the Wumaos from the chat? Because they're in there too. This has been since the beginning.
Yeah.
The exact same shit.
Because you guys, you Wumaos there in the live chat, you've got nothing else to do. You have to follow this one state narrative. Yeah. It's pathetic and you're going to get yours. Don't worry. We're going to show you a little later how we catch you out, you dumbasses.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Keep going. There's more of these. So unprofessional of Trudeau.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
very impressed with President Xi. Even though he looked very pissed because of Trudeau's behavior, President Xi still said, I want to shake hands with it. President Xi is the true leader. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, Trudeau is shameless person. Indian PM also ignored him when he visited India last time, and now Xi Jinping slams this guy. Canadian people should be ashamed of Trudeau.
You know what? A lot of these comments I love to see. If it ever starts with "as a blah 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 person," it's always fake. I noticed this on Quora. There's a huge psyop campaign.
They're always
on
like,
Quora.
as a
Taiwanese person that doesn't like China, I love Xi Jinping and the Chinese government's policy.
As a Chinese Canadian, as a Canadian, why does that matter? Do you go out there and every time you write
as an American,
as a white American.
Yeah, I always start my sentences with that.
I'm always like, as a white South African, I don't do that.
I participate in lots of online forums about my hobbies and stuff. I don't go on there. And as a white American, I'd like to know what kind of filtration I should use.
Exactly. I know. It's like ridiculous. What is wrong with these people?
Anyway, keep going.
I remember when he made the Queen feel so old. This man is no joke. What? So unprofessional of Trudeau. There is a reason people arrange private meetings. It is supposed to be private. If he did not want private meeting, he should have said at the beginning. Oh, maybe that's what...
It wasn't, by the way.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
No, and maybe Xi Jinping should do that.
Yeah.
If he wants... Yeah, it was a public exchange for... Of course it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, you get the gist. There's just thousands and thousands of this garbage.
Again, I want to separate this from... Again, this is a progression in Chinese propaganda because this worked. if you see this, people are like, oh, this is so funny. What a freaking joke. What an embarrassment. All this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
It preys on people's preconceived notions. And this is very different than when Winston and I criticize Chinese propaganda for being sloppy or whatever. This works.
Yeah.
Because when you hijack the narrative from the beginning, then it makes people very confused. It makes people say, hey, maybe they're onto something here.
Yeah.
Right? And let me show you some of the damage.
Okay, yes, because this has now been relentless. Every forum that's been discussing this, we're talking YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere you go that's discussing this exchange has been these kind of comments. And it has a knock-on effect. Let's look at these headlines now. What does that say?
So remember the progression?
Yeah.
Like I said, you have the clip, right?
It's like awkward.
You have unbiased opinions and
Yes.
headlines.
Yeah.
Then you have the Chinese state narrative hijacking.
Yes.
And now let's look at the headlines that follow. Read that.
Yeah. President Xi humiliates Trudeau as he's caught on camera tearing strips of Canadian PM that their conversation at G20 has been leaked to the papers. It's not appropriate.
You know what this is? The Daily Mail in the UK, which we're not going to hold to any sort of standard.
The
but
Daily Mail, yeah. But
let's be honest, though.
Yeah.
Daily Mail, this is my word to you here. You literally just fell for a Chinese government psyop.
Yeah.
And you contributed to it.
Now you contribute because now they will use this as their propaganda
Yep.
too. I like the underline there. It's like Chinese President Xi Jinping gave Canadian counterpart Justin Trudeau a dressing down at the G20 summit.
Yeah.
I mean, tearing strips off of him.
I mean, come on.
This is ridiculous. I don't know about you, but I saw this conversation where somebody's like, "Hey, don't do that. I don't like it," you know? And he's like, "Well, that's the way we do it. We believe in freedom of speech." He's like, "Well, we make conditions next time." Oh, okay, bye. That's what I saw. I didn't see any tearing
I didn't
strips.
see tearing strips.
Yeah.
This is basically like he bent him over and had his way with him.
Yeah.
That's how this is coming off. This is mainstream media, guys.
Yeah.
And this is what happens when the comment section gets hijacked by Chinese psyops.
And there's another one, like, which one is this from?
Ratioed. Xi Jinping humiliates Justin Trudeau. I took a bunch out of mainstream outlets.
Yeah. So this is how the headlines evolved.
Yeah.
From awkward, whatever.
Yeah. Unbiased, exchange, right?
Yeah. Xi Jinping, I'll get us out of there, scolds Justin Trudeau in humiliating G20 snub.
I mean, does this not prove that this works?
Yeah.
That Chinese
Oh, yeah,
propaganda
yeah, yeah.
psyops.
It's ridiculous.
Keep going.
Yeah, let's see what comes up next. By getting thrashed by Xi at the G20 summit, Trudeau has shamed Canada internationally. Listen, okay, I honestly I take a big objection to this, okay? And not because I'm biased against the CCP and Xi Jinping, because I do think the CCP sucks, and I think Xi Jinping's a toad.
I think it's the greatest enemy of
He's a piece of
time.
shit.
Yeah.
He's really not a good man.
No.
I don't like him. But this headline here is inaccurate.
Yeah, it's wrong. It's just wrong.
Justin Trudeau did not get thrashed by Xi Jinping.
See, this is the thing, though. And this is what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
The timeline, which I should have included, I'm not going to show DMs. I'm not going to show private messages.
Sure.
But it goes from the Chinese PSYOP
Yeah.
in its infancy, it's an incubator,
Yeah.
spreads to the main video, then makes these headlines, and then, and this is no offense to you guys, I love you guys and stuff, but the hundreds of people that messaged me today saying, did you see Trudeau just get beeped by
Yeah,
Xi Jinping?
sure.
Did you see, it was so embarrassing, blah, blah, blah. And it works. It really, really works.
It does.
Because I reply and I say, no offense, but did you watch the clip? Yeah, did you see, you could see in his face, oh my God, you see the confidence of Xi Jinping? Don't like the guy, but man, he really manhandled
That dude's got no confidence. His face is the same always.
Yes, and he doesn't even look at the guy.
He's just
Anyway, we're not here to argue about that. My point
Yeah.
is that it worked. It
Yeah.
really worked. And what it did was it humanized a dictator.
Yeah.
It humanized a dictator and brought down Western democracy, right? And brought down the opinion of Western democracy and propelled strongman leadership in a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. Think about it, okay? We could have a conversation about anything, okay?
Right.
Let's say, for instance, I ask you a question, and I'm like, did you leave the coffee pot on? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, well, you shouldn't do that because it might ruin it,
Right,
you know?
yeah.
Just an average conversation. But then suddenly underneath our conversation in the video, there's thousands of Wumao saying, look how he disrespected him. He owned him and schooled him on how to use the coffee pot. Yeah, that kind of thing. Thrashed him.
He threw up from embarrassment.
Meanwhile, it's just a normal conversation, and you've said the same thing to me the day before, and it's no big deal.
Winston ripped Sea Milk's intestines out and hung him with it.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It's like it's this crap narrative that's now been created by all these thousands and hundreds of thousands of Wumao accounts, and the international press is buying it and running with it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like it's. No, you know what? I wanted to say less than trustworthy outlets, but it's read by billions. These outlets are read by billions of people.
And they'll be used by Chinese state media. Trudeau humiliation for all to see. It's like you're being told what to believe.
Yeah.
It's awful. Xi Jinping humiliates Justin Trudeau in devastating public dressing down at G20 summit.
You, who wrote this headline and article, participated in a Chinese government psyop.
Yeah.
That's not tinfoil stuff. It's so... You have to have two no-name dudes on YouTube show you where this came from.
Yeah.
Because you didn't do your due diligence as a journalist for these outlets and willingly participated with Xi Jinping's propaganda department.
Yeah.
Hand in hand.
Chinese President Xi Jinping blasts Canada's Justin Trudeau for inappropriate leaking of meeting details at G20. Yeah, I mean it is what it is. It's just this is what soft power hour is about, right? It's where we show people how the Chinese government has changed your mind through all of its influence operations abroad. It's soft power operations.
You know, like we want to make a juxtaposition here. We want to compare like what we were making fun of in the beginning, the white monkey guys talking about the maintenance of the subway. It's hilarious. It doesn't work. That's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
But Chinese psyops, after pairing up with Russia, by the way, when China decided that Russia was going to be their ally and to support them in the Ukraine war,
they learned a lot.
They learned a lot. We saw things change overnight, and we now see them preying on not even extremes, preying on people's preconceived notions. Because what China did before was, and it was so sloppy. This is, I can break it down for you really easily. China would say, China good, you must love Xi Jinping, you must love the Chinese government. And people go, no, not for me. That's not for me, right? What they learned from Russia and other psyops and stuff is that, no, you don't need to do that. What you need to do is sow division and distrust. You don't need to love Xi Jinping or China or anything.
You just gotta hate. You just gotta hate your own politicians, hate your own government, your own country.
Yeah. So they go out there and they go, China is good, but you don't have to like China.
Yeah. But you
Xi
must
Jinping
hate.
is good, but you don't have to like him. But you must hate the opposition and lose trust in your own government, and then we come away with a victory.
Yeah. You must hate the Democrats. You must hate the Republicans. You must hate Trudeau.
Yeah. And people don't realize they're fighting.
Don't trust your government, but trust ours.
Yes. You see there's a lot of like right-wing and left-wing people that go after each other on all sides, Canada and the US and stuff. Oftentimes what they're doing is fighting over something they don't fully understand the policy that they disagree about. But what they end up doing is fighting on behalf of China.
Yes.
Because China is sowing division amongst people that probably agree on 90% of things, and then taking China's side over that when they would never agree with anything China does.
Yeah.
Right? Taking their side and fighting on their behalf. It's quite literally a marionette game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it is.
So you shouldn't have to. I just want to end this by saying you shouldn't have to rely on two guys on YouTube to figure out how this happened.
Yeah,
it's laid bare on the internet.
It is.
Some diligence.
But look, the thing is, at the end of the day, for instance, us finding the forum where they were actually discussing this first, before they went and pushed this narrative everywhere.
Yeah,
it's in the Chinese language. There's a language barrier, and the Chinese Communist Party has relied on that for the longest time.
Yes,
people cannot read it. It's out there in public.
Yes.
They basically can put down their plans for world domination in public and nobody knows about it because nobody's reading Chinese.
Right.
So, you know, that you can't blame people for not knowing that.
I don't. I absolutely don't. Yeah. But I mean, I'm happy we can lay it bare.